the founder of Mass Tort Made Perfect, a cutting edge conference that trains thousands of lawyers to better their legal practice, to diversify. It's one of my favorite conferences, events of the year. How did you come up with that idea? How did that all start?
Well, it really evolved. Little known story. It's just, I guess people know more about it now, but John Morgan and I were roommates at University of Florida as undergrads. So both of us came up just dog fighters. I mean, we just, we didn't come from, we weren't the fraternity class, even though we were in it. We just weren't part of that scene, because we were worried about, how do we pay for college this year? How do we survive? And so he was, as soon as I met John, I said, wow, he's definitely a survivor. And so we became friends, And so when I got out of law school, I went to work, ended up with this law firm. Law firm had been around, it's this law firm's 67 years old and started by Reuben Askew. That's how old it is. So I was doing something totally different from what he was doing. He was in Orlando and he was doing I think he started out with a defense firm and then started doing auto, comp. And so we talked about, well, let's try to do something together. So we put this program together called Practice Made Perfect. Practice Made Perfect. And so we would show up in places like Atlanta, and we'd buy a half a page, come into town, Mike Papantonio and John Morgan, and nobody had a clue who we were. I mean, we're just, who are these guys? But we're talking about how to build a multi-million-dollar practice, because we're kind of already on our way to doing it. We knew what we had to do that. Or we'd go to LA and San Francisco, and there'd be 50 people there. You never knew what you're going to find. And if it was a small turnout, 15, 20 people, I'd always let John open. If it was, we'd argue about who's going to open because there's only 15 people out there. If it was a huge turnout, I love to open, like a bigger crowd. And so out of that, we kind of went our different ways. But out of that spun MTMP. You see, I just took that and spun it into MTMP. Wow. But, it's just a mixture of creativity. It's, John had written the book, well, that came later, but the point being, he was just like me. He understood that you have to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results. You have to take extraordinary chances.
Yeah. I'm a woman that follows the energy, and I practice meditation. I'm all about energy. And when I walk into your conferences, there is this energy in the air about opportunity, that there is abundance. There is this feeling, people come, they're so excited that there's all these lawyers that are single event attorneys that are coming to one of your events for the first time, and you meet them and they just feel like they're awake, like, wow, there's something happening and exciting. And they just can't believe it, that this has been a part of law that they've never explored before, and they're hooked. It's like one of those things that you go once or twice and then you're hooked. And I think that is what the essence that you've breathed into these conferences.
Well, thank you, Marina. That's very nice of you to say. That you have to generate the energy because you have that energy. You have to generate the energy because you believe the energy. Yeah. Look, I want you to think about something. You've been to so many conferences, both NTL and MTMP, and I own 50% of both of those. But what I have always tried to do is to take the people that can create that same kind of movement and that same kind of explosive feeling about being in a room. Yeah. And I don't care if they're a competitor. I mean, I will put competitors up on stage. I don't care. Yeah. My only question is, are they good? Have they distinguished themselves in any way that needs to be known about? Yeah. And I tell my young lawyers will say, Pap, why are you putting these people, they're competing with us on the same project? And I have a saying that is kind of known around here, and it's called turning your back on the bull, right?
Mhm.
And that means if you don't have enough confidence in who you are and in your ability and in your foresight and your vision, if you don't have confidence in there, you will never turn your back on the bull. A great bullfighter does that. Hemingway did such a great job talking about this. He studied bullfighters forever.
Yeah.
And he said there's that person that has that aura that just
Yeah.
is a little creepy sometimes,
Yeah.
and they're willing to turn their back on the bull. You
Yeah.
have to do that with competition.
Yeah.
And so what brings the energy
Mhm.
is that I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
They could be my worst enemy. I
Yeah.
hope I don't have that many, but maybe I do. Maybe they don't tell me they're my worst enemy, but I put them on stage anyway, you
Yeah.
see.
I
And I'm
love that.
saying, all I want you to do is create this message that everybody in that room can do something extraordinary.